Okay, today I have an application of this idea that I shared with you yesterday. You know how you see yourself doing something that you might not be quite ready to do, but you know you want an activity you want to engage in, you want to manifest. Well, I applied it to this wonderful idea, and this is going to also introduce another bonus tip or idea for creating your future. And it's from this book, The Art of Possibility, by Rosamund and Benjamin Zander, husband and wife team, and he is a conductor of the Boston Philharmonic. And he did this really interesting exercise with his students, really high level students that were so stressed about getting an A, it was hard for them to really break out of their current level of performance and really experiment and develop a even greater level of creativity. Okay, so what he decided, he calls it giving an A. He gave them an A at the beginning of the year with one requirement. And here's the exercise that was very profound for me, and I'll show you how I applied it. But the exercise was they had to write a letter dated at the end of the year, write a letter to him, Dear Mr. Zander, I received an A because, so they described what had happened, what achievement they got, and they said because, and then they had to write, what happened that they got that A. And here's the other intriguing thing. Not only did everything need to be written in the past tense as if it had already happened, okay, they're already putting themselves in that future space, okay, but it was also focused less on what they did, okay, though they could include that, and more on who they became. Who did they become in this year that created these kinds of results? And they needed to describe it in such a way that they fell in love with that person. Okay, and there's some very profound letters in here. Maybe I'll post a video sharing some of these letters at some point that were really moving and poetic. And the thing is that they were so moving and poetic, I mean, so profound what he shared and the realizations these students came to that, of who they became as a person that then got expressed in their music to the world, not at the one hand, I decided I wanted to do this exercise, but on the other hand, my little perfectionist self came out and was like kind of putting it off or wondering, how am I going to start? And what if it's not as good? And all those kinds of thoughts and questions. How many of you have ever, had that when you're thinking of doing an exercise? So I want to give you a little secret based on yesterday's tip on how I went about doing that. And what it was is I just started planning in my mind that I'm going to do this exercise. I started seeing myself doing this exercise. I hadn't quite yet picked exactly when until a couple days later, the day before, the night before, I kind of decided in the morning time, it was going to be a Saturday morning. We had like a team call partway in the morning, but in that morning time before that, I decided there were a couple things that I wanted to do with that space, that time, including writing this letter. And I woke up early that morning. I did some quiet time, some meditation time. And in that time, the idea came to me, okay, rather than pressure myself, how I'm going to start it, is it going to be good enough, and all that kind of thing. I decided to, on purpose, grab some scratch paper, just some paper already had stuff on the back of it, is scratch paper. So in my own mind, I could just grab a pen and start writing. And in my own mind, it wasn't the final draft, I could change it, whatever, but it would just help me get over that perfectionist hump and just start writing. So after that quiet time, I grabbed the scratch paper, I sat down, and I just started to write. I put that first sentence, Dear A, I put the name of one of my coaches and mentors, and then I put this year I became, and I wrote a major achievement. Rather than saying I got an A, for me it was a business achievement that would involve developing a number of new leaders and new business results this year. I dated it the end of the year, okay, December 31st, 2016, and then I just started to write. The interesting thing was, because I didn't have that pressure that had to be perfect, and I also wasn't planning to share it, this was just for me, it was just a rough draft, but I ended up going, wow, it was kind of interesting what ended up coming out for me, okay? It was personal to me, and then I ended up liking it and kept the draft and ended up sharing it with my wife first, and then later decided to share it with the team, and then even shared it from stage when I spoke like a week later. It had a lot of impact on people. So I wanted to share that process of seeing yourself doing something, and in something like this, even giving yourself permission to get started with scratch paper or rough drafts. You don't let that perfectionist tendency get in the way. And then lastly, I'm going to share my actual example of this exercise. Maybe it'll trigger something in you, and maybe in the next 24, 48 hours, you'll decide to set aside a time, see yourself doing this, and write a letter yourself to someone that you're working with or important to you. So here we go. I actually took the actual scratch paper that I wrote on, just so you have the actual original version here. That I mean, I haven't changed the words, but it's kind of special that I'm actually reading what I wrote that morning. So it's Dear A, this year I became a, and then I put that special achievement because I released the guilt and fear and pressure of not doing enough, caring enough, or being enough. And I began to love and accept myself and to see and receive and enjoy the love and acceptance that's around me each day. I began to live as if the universe is for me and that I am loved and supported, and to take a much more playful approach to business and life. I embraced the joys, discoveries, and new adventures of each day and practiced noticing being met. I celebrated others and their joys, dreams, and achievements while continuing to grow in my own. And I developed a level of clarity that enabled me to make decisions with ease and then allow energy to flow in a direction to create a result without constantly perseverating, replaying, or second guessing. So I was much more open to the present moment, able to hear, see, and act, and to create. I'm now enjoying cooperating, co-creating, and even playing with the greater field of energy, intelligence, and the one who knew me and formed me in my mother's womb and called me forth. I love the playful times I've had with Rochelle and the kids, the trips, times together, and new discoveries and experiences and relationships we've created together. Developing leaders in multiple cities and countries who are versatile on and offline and who are continually growing, lifting each other up, and making an ever expanding positive impact in the world has been richly rewarding. I love who I have become and the life we are creating together. Ben. So that's the letter I wrote. Maybe this will inspire to write your own. You may also enjoy getting this book, The Art of Possibility by the Zanders. Enjoy. Have a great day, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. Bye for now.